Welcome back, everybody, to your computer science tutorial. This is section 3, video 4, and today we're going to be talking about something known as memory management. Now, if I were to open up Task Manager, your computer, well, my computer has about 4 gigabytes of memory that I can access. That's called RAM, and it's random access memory. Anything can use it. Now, I have about 2 available, and if I were to open up an intensive application, this number would go down, and or actually this number would go up because this is usage. But the total amount I have free would drastically drop, which would be bad because, well, then I couldn't really use any, and my computer would start running slow, and nobody ever wants their computer to run slow. So memory management is a very important thing. Now, in Unity, everything uses memory. It has to. And one interesting way of cutting down on memory is that you only see game objects from one side, or any object for the matter of fact, from one side, with the exception to those trees because they're circular. If you look underneath that tree, you see I sort of can see through the tree. It doesn't have a trunk, and if I get to the center of these branches, you'd actually see through them like you can right now. That's a little harder because Unity doesn't really have that precision of motion, but this is very big. So these game objects, they only render from one side, so this means that I save all that memory that would have taken to draw this twice, because how games usually work is that if I were to look at this cube, you see it has this blue line in between it with this green line outlining it. Now this blue line is actually a triangle, and it's a triangle that, because games have to draw everything in triangles because, well, that's the easiest way to make things that work properly. It's to cut everything in triangles. Even circular objects like a sphere are cut into triangles. And if we were to open up a sphere, you see it has a lot more triangles. So this takes a lot more data than something like this cube over here, which has about 2 triangles per side, and there's 6 sides. This has 12 sides, or 12 triangles. And 12 triangles, I'm just going to say each one has 3 vertices, even though they share some. So that's 12 times 3, which is 36 vertices. Look how many vertices this one has. This object looks like it has about like 100 triangles with probably 300 plus vertices. And if we just scale it up, well, the good thing is that if we scale it up, we can actually, this is weird. It's not scaling properly. If we just scale it up, we could actually make the triangles bigger, and it kind of loses its nice curvy shape, but because it gets bigger, it's less noticeable. But this is very good. And if you were to look at the top, they split it up so that the top is the least circular object on the sphere. But we can live with this because this saves a lot of memory, and memory saved is good. It's just good. Now, another thing that takes up a lot of data in Unity is that fireball. Now, anything with rigid bodies, it actually takes up quite a decent amount of data, which can be bad because, well, if you had like an online game and everyone could spawn these fireball objects, they could eventually crash your entire game if your server wasn't powerful enough, because you had no real memory management objects. Now, one way to combat this is to write a script that will destroy the fireball after a time, and you'll see this in basically everything. So I'm going to show you that script, but before that, if we go over to, we're going to open up, because we haven't been here in a very long time, not build settings. We want to open up, how do I do it? It's project settings. Project settings, here we are. And we could see quality. And you could actually, this is like, you could have your game look awesome, beautiful, good, simple, fast. Fast is say if you have a really big game that you had very poor quality, well, this is a great way of reducing it. And you can reduce the resolution of the game, the textures, anti-aliasing, and things like that, just to reduce the overall amount of memory your game takes to run. And they have a bunch of different options here. And there's also some renderer settings. Renderer settings also do something with memory. Well, you're probably not going to be making a project right now that uses so much memory that it just makes everything not work. But yeah. So just the little things like deleting those fireball objects is good enough right now for you to keep your game running and not like exploding. So we need to make a way of destroying that object. So we're going to go to our prefab, and we're actually going to add a script to it called, let's call it destroy. Oh no. Self destruct. Is that a good name? Destruct. Yeah, let's self destruct. That sounds like a good name. And let's say we want our fireballs to only last, let's go in like 5 seconds. That seems like a reasonable time. 5 seconds from creation, or 5 seconds in total. Well, that's the same thing, I guess. But so basically how we're going to do this is, first we need a timer. And this timer is going to be equal to a float value, because time can be in decimals. And we'll say it's going to equal 5 seconds. And what we want to do is that we want to see, we need to make a timer. And the easiest way to do this is just subtract from the timer every time a frame passes the time dot delta time. And delta time, if you don't remember, is the time since the last frame has passed. So we're just going to subtract this number each time, and this will give you very, very accurate times. And all we have to do is, if timer is less than or equal to 0, we want it to destroy this object. So we can use destroy. Yeah, destroy should work. And this dot game object. And if we close that and to run it, our fireballs, I might have to apply. I do not have to apply. And we have I forgot a semicolon somewhere. Under delta time. Add that semicolon. I'm getting very lax with those semicolons, man. I'll have to start picking my game up. So now if I were to create this fireball, and timer is not oh, there it goes. You can see after about 5 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it disappears. And you could even make like a cool, now you could also, because they disappear, you can offer to use that memory to make things like, this one looks more like a flamethrower right now. If I get like a get T down button, it'd make a flamethrower like thing. And because it has this ability to manage itself, I don't really have to worry about using it like that. I can use this ineffective method because I added memory management without destroying your computer. And that's a basic timer. This is a very useful, this right here is a very useful script in general, because you can use a timer for a lot of things. Like, say you want a game over after a certain time. Well, this is how you could do it. And memory management also those are really the two areas where really excels at when you need like a game over timer or things like that, or memory management. I'm yawning a lot. So that's basically it for this. That's it for this tutorial. I'll see you guys next time.